All right. Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. If you're watching this before the holiday, it's great to see you. If not, Happy New Year. We're going to be taking a look today at the month of January. As always, this can go through the next 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm really happy that you chose to spend some time with me today. Some of you may be still traveling or celebrating the holidays, and if you are, I hope you're having a happy and safe holiday. I know there's been a lot of issues with travel because of the weather, so do be safe. Just a quick note, if you're brand new here, this is the format that we're going to follow today. I always like to begin with some channeled messages. We're going to be looking at a very grounded and sturdy energy for today, which is the oak tree. And I'll basically connect that to some advice for the next few weeks ahead of you. Then we'll get into the Celtic Cross. And the way that I approach the Celtic Cross is whatever the main message that needs to come through, well, that's going to be the focus. I don't try to make it just about you, your person, or something of that nature. It's basically going to be open to spirit, and then we'll take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny after that. And the rest of that is going to, we'll kind of get into all of this as we proceed through this. One quick note that I try to remind myself to say at the beginning is I will be doing today a sneak peek at 2023, so we'll pull 4 cards for the 4 quarters of the year. And then probably on Fridays when I'm going to do the New Year's special, I'll be doing it like the day before New Year's Eve. That way we can take a look at all 12 months, and that'll be a collective reading. So that way you get like one just for your sign and then one energetically for all of us. And you can kind of put the two together to see how it fits for you. Okay? So there we go. We're going to, like I said, we'll begin with the channeled messages. Just a couple quick notes before then. If you enjoy this, please hit the like button, subscribe, and opt into notifications. As I've been getting settled into my new place, sometimes the start times are a little different, and I never want you to miss something, so the bell icon will keep you informed. You can also follow me for either a reminder or a heads up that I did something today on social media. Just a couple of quick notes on this as well, because I've gotten some feedback. There is currently someone on TikTok that has my name and picture, but none of my content, but they message people. FYI, I do not offer private readings. I don't use direct messages. So if anyone ever does that, it is a big red flag. It is not me. Report them. You can use a form on my site to let me know about them, and I'll report them as well. The only way to participate is here in a live on YouTube. You can give back through SuperChats, SuperStickers, and membership options. Again, if I'm live on Instagram, same things hold true with whatever sort of things that they offer, like badges. But if it's not me, I'm not live, my lips aren't moving, and it's not an official channel, don't connect with that person. I like to remind people as often as possible. All right. We're going to now focus on the channeled messages for today. I was very heartened by the symbol that came through for you, which was the oak tree. And to me, I didn't even write about this so much in the messages here, but like it's so earth-based and sort of grounded that I think one of the most important things as you go through this first month of the new year is to really figure out, like, what are you trying to do? What's the focus for today? What's the focus for the month? What's the focus for the year? You don't have to always be so grounded, but I think as you're kicking off the new year, it's going to help. All signs in general are going to be going through some hiccups because retrograde is beginning. I'll be doing a video for that tomorrow, so you can kind of navigate it. But, you know, with or without a retrograde, it's always good to be intentional and to really think about things. And that's what this particular totem is reminding us. All right, so the first thing, and this is great, and we are ahead of New Year's Eve right now, create a stretch goal. And even if you're watching this in January, it still works. It doesn't matter. Again, intention works. It doesn't stop at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. That doesn't mean like, oh my God, I don't have it. That was my only chance to make a resolution or to make an intention. No, you can do it any day. And it really just is about how connected you are to that intention. Some fun facts about this type of tree here. Although it's not as tall as a California redwood, about half as tall, it can basically get pretty darn big. So I have 135 feet or around 41 meters. They remind us that we have the capacity to grow at all stages and at all ages in our lives. And in this period of time, just do one. You don't have to go crazy. Do one stretch goal that you really feel like, I'm not sure if I can do it, but I want to go for it. Back when I used to be a manager in regular business job, because I had a normal 9-to-5 where I had a team and I managed, and there's project management stuff and all this stuff that I had to deal with. But this would be the period of year, probably a month or two before this, that we would do performance reviews, like annual reviews where you would talk to your boss. One thing that I would always encourage is one stretch goal, and then you can do 2 or 3 that you can totally hit out of the park. That's going to help you gain confidence. It's going to set yourself up for success. So, and then you're going to do one that's going to be a little bit of a push. No matter how far you get, as long as you're making some progress, you're winning. If you don't try it, then that's sort of giving into fear, and we don't want that to happen. So create one stretch goal. You could surprise yourself by how much progress you make or how much you learn. And just like the tree reaching for the sun here, you can go pretty far, okay? And that's the message. It's not about how far, it's the fact that you're just trying to go, and that's the key thing here. Let me just do one thing so that this comes into better focus, because I can see that it's a little bit out of focus here. So while I'm doing that, a couple of other notes here. With this, sometimes people focus so much on, it becomes like performance anxiety, and we really don't want that. We want it to be more, there we go, that's better. Sorry, I'm a perfectionist. It's more about just the fact that you are cognizant of something that's important and you're not afraid to go after it, okay? Next card, beating the odds. Okay, another fun fact. First of all, the acorns that we see on an oak tree, they are actually fruit. They're not just a seed. And the trees don't begin producing that until they're around 20 years old. And it's kind of like high odds sometimes for them to make it work. So one tree can make over 2,000 acorns every year, but it's 1 in 10,000 that become an actual tree. So there's a lot of them that end up being food for animals and squirrels. A lot of them that just kind of, succumb to other things like insects or the elements. But there is that 1 in 10,000 that actually makes it to the finish line. There's a line in the original trilogy of Star Wars where Han Solo's like, don't tell me the odds. Because the odds scare you sometimes, and it's not worth it. Olympians would agree with this too. You just go for the gold. And if you get silver or bronze, who cares? And even if you just finish 10th, you still did amazing. You have to keep pushing. And I think that that's one of the things that is coming through loud and strong right now, or loud and clear, is avoid perfectionism, do the best you can, and that's going to be good enough, and it's going to take you a lot further than you thought. Focus on going after what matters. Don't let any projected fears from others or even your own head kind of get in the way. I picked 2 cards that are very interesting in tarot. The 7 of Pentacles is basically at a point where you've learned what doesn't work and you're applying lessons to make things better. And there's often impatience that steps in that period of time where it's like, why can't it happen faster? Or why did I do this? I regret going through this. Well, it was all context. It made you stronger. It gave you the basically presence of mind to understand what to do. And that's oftentimes just as valuable as getting it right the first time. So just don't rush. And then the 9 of Wands is like the acorn tree. It's going to keep going up to bat until it hits a home run. So keep going, I don't really follow sports, but with baseball, it's an average. It's not about every time being perfect. It is about an average. So sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. It's not the end of the world when it doesn't. It's more about continuing to go up, continuing to produce, and beating the odds. And this is what you have a chance to do, but it requires perseverance, okay? It's worth the wait, folks. Another fun fact with oak and how I kind of get these messages. Oak trees are used to age different types of spirits and alcohol. So wine, whiskey, and brandy are the ones that I could find when I was researching. And so when we think of alcohol, many types of fermented drinks, they improve with the age and sometimes the materials in which they're stored. In our own lives, I think that age improves things, our ability to cope with challenges. When you're 37 or 67, you can deal with something a lot easier than when you're 7 because you've been through things. You know, I can survive this. You know that maybe you have no choice but to do it, or other people are depending on you to get through it. And so age and experience creates strength. Taste as well gets in. Look back at your fashions from childhood or some of your choices and you're like, that was in poor taste. I have a better sort of appreciation for what's going to be timeless, what might be dated. And going back to the card that we just had, that 7 of Pentacles is like a 7-year-old. And that Nine of Wands is more like a 49-year-old or something saying, yeah, I've already been through this a few times. I'm not going to let this get me down. So we're going to channel our inner sort of like experience. I could have also put the, I was going to put either the, what was it? Not the, yeah, the Emperor would have been a good choice here. But I put the Page of Cups, not only because of the spirits and alcohol, but also because of the final bullet here that I have here, which is if you're working on something important and you're trying to just get to the end, drink in today, savor this moment. This is what matters. And a lot of times the accomplishment is anticlimactic because let's say we'll use the Olympian example. You spend, 10 years training and doing all this stuff. You're on that stage for maybe, 2 minutes. It was worth it, but it was actually everything else. It's the medal that you have afterwards. It's the memories and the friendships that you made and the fact that you proved to yourself, I could do something I didn't think I could. I beat the odds. So it's not going to just be the ultimate moment. It might be the penultimate. It might be 2 or 3 steps before that. And it may be the aftermath where you're just like, gosh, I really feel good that I did it. So don't focus so much on rushing to the finish. Really enjoy today and look and see who's around you. Those are your chosen family. Those are the people that really had your back, rain or shine. And that's the important thing here. But have some fun today. That's why I chose the Page. It is the holidays after all. Make some noise. So this is probably why I didn't put the Emperor, because I have the Empress here. In Norse mythology, the oak tree is a sacred tree of Thor, the god of thunder. Greeks believed that it was also sacred to Zeus. Thor, it makes some noise, as you know, is a loud god. And both of these are leadership-oriented deities. I chose the Empress here because I want us also to pull in some divine feminine energy, which is focusing on what am I going to do? How am I going to create this? Take the lead and don't wait for others. This is your chance to be heard, okay? And let me see if this is the last one here. We got one more. Okay, so for this, oh yeah, this is cool. There's so many different applications for oak wood. We just talked about alcohol, aging, wine, and things of that nature. It's also used in ships and floors and some sort of musical instruments. And to me, in tarot, this would be like the 7 of Cups. Lots of options. We're only limited sometimes by our imagination or by our capacity to follow a dream. So don't be. There's a lot of, it's kind of interesting. If I look at all of these, it's almost like a teenage vibe that I'm getting with the cards where it's sort of like, I want to hurry up and get out there and prove something when there's some really beautiful stuff that's happening right now. So grounding yourself, being present and enjoying the moment, and never underestimating your power, all of these things are going to be important. So first and foremost, create that stretch goal. You never know how far you can go until you give it a shot. You can beat the odds, but one of the things is to keep going up to bat, to keep trying and not to let somebody's fears get in the way of making something happen. Savor each and every moment along the way. So often, especially in the age of social media, we just really want everything to happen overnight, and this is about being present. Make some noise, use your voice and your platform in a way that can really matter, and don't limit yourself just because someone else doesn't understand it, just because you might be a little bit afraid of the work that might go into something. It's totally worth this time, this energy, and this moment. So let me pull some decks here that are right in front of me, and I'll give you a chance to vote on those. Let's see, I had one more that I wanted to choose from. Let me just grab it to the side, and then we'll begin, and I'll give you a chance to shape today's reading as well. Okay, here we go. Let's swap maybe this one for this one. Okay. Okay, let me turn the camera down and make sure everything is visible. I think I'll give you a choice to look between these, and I'll show you all of them here in just a second. I don't always have a chance to do a poll here for you to vote, but I thought we'll do it. You guys wait a long time, so let's make you empowered here. So yes, we have the Wild Unknown here. Lots of wild ones here. Wild Unknown. Wildwood, Tarot, Modern Witch, and Fountain. And I'll give you a chance to look at all of these here. I'm going to pull them up to the main camera while we're doing this. All right, so the first one here, Wild Unknown, is basically animal totems and nature totems, and there's no people in this entire deck. So if you like nature, this is a cool deck for you. The second one has some people, but they're kind of... you'll even see with like the title of it, it's very kind of supernatural looking here, but there are people in this one as well. Give me just a second here. As I've gotten sort of moving into my new place, I have to also kind of like unpack my deck. So that's why I'm constantly looking in the boxes and thinking like, what haven't we done? I'm not going to pull all of them out. We'll see if you want them. So here's just a sample of this. Again, kind of like druid and nature, and there are some people. I think for most of the court cards, though, it's animals, so that's cool. Then we have Modern Witch. I'm just going to show it on the back here. Modern Witch is a retelling of Rider-Waite-Smith, and you can see some examples there. And then the Fountain Tarot, we'll just pull the back as well on this one. It has this sort of ethereal is the best way that I can describe it, vibe to it. Lots of white space, lots of air, and lots of sort of like geometrical sort of things. So it has its own magic. All right, let's see what you have chosen. It looks like Wildwood is in the lead. So I'm going to end the poll and pull all of the cards out of Wildwood, and we'll go with that one. This is probably in my top. It's hard for me to limit how many. I would say this is definitely in the top 10 of my favorite decks. I think it's amazing. So you made a good choice. Double checking, yeah, Wildwood won by 40%. So thank you. I had someone in the comments the other day say, I don't like the choice. And I'm like, well, show up for the live then. You get a choice to vote in the live, and I usually do like the choice, and I only choose decks that I think are great. So listen to the messages and close your eyes if you don't like the deck. You can't make everyone happy. Okay. Let's begin, folks. As I said earlier, this is going to take us through the next 6 to 8 weeks, and it's so good to have all of you here. And for some of the people that were typing the answers in the text, that's not what you do. When it's a poll, you actually vote on it. You may have just joined late, though. Don't worry, there'll be more polls today, and you'll have more opportunities to vote if you missed it. I have a viewer's and reader's choice towards the middle. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit so we can see some more. Yeah, Paulo's in the other room. He sometimes doesn't want to hear all of this stuff. He's like, I just want to chill. I took him on a walk before, and that's his prerogative. He has lots of little beds in the different rooms, so he's just happy to be in one place after we had a lot of moves this year. For a long time, he was kind of stuck on that couch beside me, so I'm glad that he has the ability now to walk around. Okay, let's begin, folks. Right at the center, we have the Kiss card, and you know that I don't focus solely on relationships, but if something regarding love comes through, I definitely pay attention to it. So we do have something here sort of playful and energetic. I like to remind folks that when it comes to things like intimacy, it's not just about sort of like physical intimacy. And when I'm looking at this, we're not really even seeing that. We're kind of seeing just being close. So sharing some time with someone that you care about. It could be a friend, it could be your pet, it could be a loved one in your life. And getting closer, it can also just be involving like sharing some things that went on today at work or at school, or some things that you're worried about. So I think one of the things that's coming through right now is just closeness and intimacy on all those different levels. And then if you're also trying to create like a magical spark, this card is showing, yeah, now's the time to spend a little bit more time and energy in an existing relationship. The kiss is also just a really good card here because it's an expression of how you feel when you think really what this is. So if we're looking at it more broadly, one thing that you could imagine here with the kiss is that everything that you put out into the world should have like a little bit of love in it. Like a chef knows this. If you're cooking, you don't want to cook when you're sad or angry or anything of that nature, because the food is worse for the wear. So when you're putting things out into the universe, things that you say, things that you do, things that you create, things that you cook, make sure that there's just a little kiss of love in that energy too. And that's what I'm getting with that card. All right, let's go to your centermost card here. And we have, guess what? The sun, which was one that I chose for you as well. It was like the first card, the stretch goals, right? This one is really cool because it shows it's actually a little higher than I would have put it. I would have put it like right at the solar plexus, but it's putting the sun at the heart of the matter here on this one. So we see a person here really connected to their power, letting that power not just come out through the solar plexus, but the heart. So this energy of the kiss connecting with that, saying, I love what I am doing. I love who I am. I love being in this moment. And it's just kind of pushing that out there as well. Let's talk about some other energies and messages if it was a traditional card. The sun is a child, and it represents birthing, release, or sometimes rebirthing. And because this reading will hit when a Mercury retrograde is active, and even the shadow will be active towards the end of the month, one of the things that we're going to do is look at parts of our lives where you think, I've always wanted to try that, to be that, to experience that, to go for that. And this card is saying, now is the time to go back and reclaim, or to redo that, or to basically relive that. And, I think that this is a very valuable moment to kind of like embrace all of those things. Let me see what else I want to talk about with that. A lot of times this can represent people in your life. This can be a man in your life sometimes, or a child in your life. And there could be a little bit more energy that you need or want to give to them. But it's also, we were talking about balance earlier. So there can be someone that is stepping in and they want to kind of get all the attention. And this card is basically saying you have the ability, you are equal in that as well. So show your true strength, make sure that you're kind of there, balanced, equal, and present, and all will go well. Crossing this, we have the World card, and the World card is all about expansion. I love that we see the seasons on this. We just came through a, what would you call it? I just forgot it. Solstice, left my head for a second. And it's interesting because we're in winter in Northern Hemisphere. I know it's it's summer in Southern Hemisphere. And the interesting thing with this is we're looking at not just a reset for the new year, but you could also be on like 4 seasons from now, something amazing could be happening. Sometimes we want everything again, right here, right now. And we think to ourselves, if that can't happen, if that doesn't happen, then, we get impatient and we imagine that it's not coming through. And this particular card is saying, no, give it time. It takes time. There's a season and a rhyme and a reason for everything. These two cards together actually portend really, really good things, because we have basically, this can almost like for those of you that are having a birthday right now, it's your solar return. When we look at a new year, it's kind of the same way for all of us on the planet. It's a reset. So in this reset, we see big expansion coming through for you. And this can be, for some of you, moving somewhere new, moving in with someone, moving out, it's moving for the better and change for the better. So moving up, moving out, moving on. It can also be, for some of you, publication, outreach, and also kind of deciding like, how am I going to make a bigger, and by the way, have we forgotten the fact that it looks like it's an oak tree too on top of all of this, or some sort of tree. So it fits with our totem today. But it's basically saying it's time for expansion. What I like about this particular illustration is we see sort of like a labyrinthine design in front of a door. And you could almost imagine that on the other side of that door is basically the fool's journey. So you're finishing up something and you're getting ready to embark on something new. It's a really great card for the new year. It is what you make of it, and it's with the sun and the world centering this spread today, we see rebirthing, we see expansion, and we see movement. And those are the centermost messages. And however you want to embrace that, that's going to be really up to you, isn't it? Now we have the Six of Cups in the deep past. Six of Cups is also a card of childhood and inner child and youth and love. So we've got two baby cards here right off the bat here. So if we go to the center, this is a child and this is birthing. And this is someone or something from the past that kind of wants your attention. This time it's something different. It's a rebirthing or it's a reimagination of it. But some of you may have a second chance in a relationship. Six of Cups can be love. And this time it may not be something that you don't have to chase after the other person, or both of you are more prepared, or you've learned your lessons and you really just want to be present with one another right now. So we have the word reunion there. So it definitely can be someone from the past. You may be choosing to quote unquote right or wrong, to fix something from the past where you just feel like that could have or should have gone better. And what I like about this though is you are the source in this card. So we see that sort of waterfall coming out of some sort of, inner source of water. So it kind of like, we have, what do you call them? Like rivers that run underground. I almost feel like you're tapping into this wellspring of passion, inspiration. And as you do this, it's calling in that partnership that maybe some of you are seeking. So continue to be authentic to yourself. That's why we had the birthing, rebirthing, and expansion energy at the center. That brings you down the path for those of you that are single and looking towards that key partnership. Or if you're looking for a business partner or looking for the right audience, it's staying true to your course and true to yourself. And again, whatever you call the underground water, I can't think of it right now, but basically there are things that are subterranean beneath the surface that are still moving. And that doesn't make them any less, kind of like a wetland. It doesn't make them any less important or any less massive. It just means that sometimes movement is subtle. So you are moving further and faster than you think. Just give it time to show. And eventually you have that moment where everything is revealed here, right? Okay, let's look at your recent past. And I really like this one. This is fantastic. This is one of the few cards in tarot that doesn't matter if it's upright or reversed, it still portends good things. So we'll pull it in the upright so you can see the illustration. It's the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is really solid partnership. This is the kind that lasts. It's interesting that they put celebration here. It can be connected to things like marriage, right? It can be connected to a long-term partnership, but it can also be like a best friend or someone who just really, you're in it for the long haul. In relationships, I'll take Four of Wands any day. That tells me that it's a nice, firm, foundational energy, and it can, together you can do something stronger than maybe you could do it alone. Let me see what else we want to talk about with this. With the card reversed, two messages for you. The first is you have the right and the opportunity to be picky. When you are picky, there could be delays in receiving what you want, but it's better than settling for less than what you deserve and less than what maybe the universe is willing and ready to give you. So one thing that we need to check ourselves with, and it's probably nobody that's watching this, but I'm sure that you've had people in your life say this, but let's say you are single and someone says, well, that's okay. You don't need their judgment. You didn't ask their opinion. You could say, yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Not really asking for permission on some things. So if you're single and waiting, if you're single and happy, good for you. And you know yourself better than anyone else. If someone tries to set you up or push you into something faster than you want, this is also true of like if you're trying to sign on the dotted line for a job or an apartment or something, and you're like, I just need a little bit more time. I don't want to rush. give it time. Friendship, partnership, and that right sort of chemistry, it's either there or it isn't. And also some things develop over time. So when I was talking about savoring the moment, that's why this says celebration. Have fun, enjoy the dance of courtship, which is what we see here. Usually that would be on the Two of Cups, but this is slow and steady, and eventually we have this just beautiful bonfire of passion that's coming through. Slow and steady burn. Okay, that's what's kind of the message with that. Okay, let's go to your crowning card. You have some choices to make, and everything that I was just talking about really connects nicely with this Two of Swords, which it's basically saying do what's right for you, not what's right for others. The card was reversed. A lot of times there is no clear path with the Two of Swords. We'll talk about the injustice message in a second, but a lot of times, traditionally, this card would represent shades of gray. And so as you look in front of you, there could sort of be this, this moment where you think, well, that has some trade-offs, that has some trade-offs. You might have a third option, which is to go in a different direction. But if you are basically forced to choose between A or B, close your eyes, go within, and kind of weigh the scales like she is. If we go to the mythology of like Egyptian weighing of the heart, it's usually a heart and a feather, right? Not so much the money. You would kind of go where your heart feels the lightest and the most connected, and you feel the passion. And in mythology, if you lived a good life, if you had a light heart, then you could go further. If your heart was heavy, then not good things happen. I remember there was like a devouring of the body or something. But it's not that sort of graphic here in everyday life. It just means that if you don't feel it, don't do it. And if you don't feel it, really kind of see if you can have a conversation with someone why you ended up where you did. Money's not always enough. We see the feather and the coins here. The feather's worth more. It's freedom, it's lightness of heart, lightness of being, and this weighs us down sometimes. And it doesn't go with us. It really doesn't. We don't take a darn thing material-wise with us. What we do take is love and experience. That goes into the soul. And then the karma. And those are the lessons that we still have to kind of deal with. But that's it. So choose what's best for you. Other people may be blind to or not understand it. We also have injustice captioned out on this particular card. So for some of you, someone's trying to ignore something that's wrong. There's an elephant or a gorilla in the room. There's a bunch of different phrases. But basically, we use the kind of term the elephant in the room because you can see an elephant, it's obvious, and everyone pretends like it's not there. So if something needs to be said or done, you may be the initiator, you may be the voice of reason. I put that in the channeled messages as well, so it definitely comes through here. I think the biggest challenge for Pisces as we step into the month ahead is just feeling confident, because when I look at this, it's sort of the inverse of confidence. It's saying, I don't know. It's reversed, so it's saying, I know what I need to do, I know what's right and wrong, but I don't know how to do it, or I'm not sure if I should do it. So just a little bit more confidence that you are exactly where you need to be and you can make this work. This is probably what's causing some of the lack of what we see. It's kind of interesting because I wouldn't normally put the balance energy in this card, the Two of Swords. I would normally put it in this, because in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Two of Pentacles, we see a person kind of sometimes on a tightrope or trying to get their balance or one foot up or something like that. Here, now we can see why there's an imbalance. We have these two hares, I think, hares or rabbits, and they're basically kind of like trying to show who's the boss. And so there could be someone that is distracting you. Competition could be distracting you. You could be putting too much work or energy in one place. It could be at work. Because I usually read this not as a resource card, but as a work-life balance card. So choose one thing and invest there, time, energy, or love. Let the other thing sit for a bit. There's one thing that's very deserving of your time. There's one thing that is occupying your attention like this. And it could just be someone who is like that, kind of always in your face, always causing a stir. And it's just at some point like, enough is enough. I can't. You don't have to be dismissive like that, but in your head, you can just think, no, we're done with that now, right? Okay, let's take a look now at your soul and what's coming through for you. I'm so happy that we got a Queen of Pentacles there, because Like I said, this whole totem, the oak tree, and we got a big tree at the center. It's a very grounded resource. I'm even okay with the fact that the Queen of Pentacles is reversed, because that's basically saying she's normally the eternal mama bear, the mother of tarot, next only to, I would say, maybe the Empress, right? But she's the penultimate card there, the second to the highest, where it's basically, I take care of everybody. I do something for everybody. I need to take care of me. And that's probably why she's a little bit grumpy here, and she's a little bit overprotective. So you don't have to also, by the way, you don't have to explain yourself or defend your decisions to anybody. If you're really doing something that is not only sort of like sustaining, but right for you, then good for you. This could be going back to school. This could be deciding to, take a class for yourself, or to pull back a little bit from activities, to say no and just nurture yourself in some way, shape, or form. It is typically about taking a little of this and putting it over here. So time and energy back for you, money, and investing it in some sort of self-improvement. It doesn't have to just be school. It could be deciding to pay more attention to physical fitness or mental fitness. So maybe going to a therapist, or going to a gym, or going to school, something that feeds you in a good way and builds you up. Okay? That's the main thing here. You're showing as just needing to be taken care of, and sometimes you have to take care of you. And the only thing we want to be mindful of, I love this. I love the bears in this deck for whatever reason. There's another one that comes up on Judgment, which we maybe will get. They're usually not as scary as they look. And so one thing that's going on here is, I feel like if you catch someone else on a bad day, or if they catch you on a bad day, there's always time to recover, and you can always let them know today isn't a good time to talk. Because we get someone here who's not ready to come out or to talk just yet. So again, for some reason, I get that someone's trying to coax or push you down a path, and you have a finite amount of energy and patience for that. Don't get pushed to the point where you kind of have a 10 of Swords moment, okay? All right, let's go to the next card here, which is in the environment. And in the environment, we have 10 of Cups. This is really positive to show up in the environment. It doesn't matter if you're looking for love or not. 10 of Cups has to do with the fact that people are really interested in, connected to, and maybe even curious, and they want to be more sort of like in your energy or in your presence. It can mean love. It's very nicely partnered with the partnership card of the Four of Wands. And so we could see something getting serious quickly. So if you are single and looking, or recently coupled, we can see this sort of blissful energy here with happiness. For those of you that enter into something that you think might be temporary, a short-term job, maybe even you're just trying something on for size. All of a sudden, people around you get very used to you and very used to what you're doing, and they want you to stick around. So you have a very sort of sticky, attractive, grounded energy, and it's going to help. And then we see this just outpouring of opportunity. So really be mindful of what's coming through around you. This is great for you, actually. There's very few cards in this spread that give me caution or pause. A lot of it comes from within. The Two of Swords, the Two of Swords, Two of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles, needing self-care, needing clarity, and needing balance. It's stuff that you can make a decision about and then declare to others, which is good. It puts you in an empowered state. All right, let's look at hopes, fears, and opportunities. So we have the Seven of Wands here. Nobody's present, which is kind of interesting. Normally, and I might pull the traditional card, we see someone on a defensive stance here. And with that, it's sort of like, there's good news with the Seven of Wands. It's basically, you can do everything and anything that comes your way. It doesn't mean you should. There comes a point sometimes where that's just a path of exhaustion. And what I think this person has learned a lesson, and the reason we don't see a person in it is, you can rest, you can delegate, you can simply focus on less. So here is the very sort of burdened Seven of Wands that we normally see. A person maybe just for the first time in a long time learning to push back and say, enough. I don't need any more. I can't do any more. I need a break. And that's a very strong, positive, and sometimes difficult lesson to learn. In this particular card, we can see that maybe they've just taken that nap or that break, or they've stepped aside a little bit. take a moment to assess how far you've come, how much you're doing, and why you're doing it. And this is maybe just the person stepping back and looking at what they've done and what's available to them. Because we have that little fire in the background, and I just can't help but think that maybe they found someone or something that's better worthy of their time, and they're over there celebrating and being present in the moment. Okay? Let's take a look now at your, and by the way, this is in hopes and fears. So some of you are afraid of saying no, of pushing back, of delegating. We don't want that to happen either. Finding your voice, finding your strength is okay. Interestingly enough, a lot of times when we learn to say no, people respect us more, and they oftentimes acquiesce and say, okay, let me know when you can do this. I'm willing and ready to wait for you. One nice thing is I was like looking around for apartments. This time I really took my time. Part of it was because I had an injury and I was healing, but the other one was I just really wanted to make sure that it was a good place. So this one, I couldn't see the first time that it was available, but I think for whatever reason they energetically vibed with me just in our exchange, and then they let me know when it was there was another sort of viewing of the place almost like 3 weeks later, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then I came in and same sort of thing. I'm like, I need a few days, and then they needed a few days. We let a lot of sort of breathing room come through so that it wasn't a rushed experience, because what I learned before was that rushing didn't bring anything good. And so far, so good. I like it. So sometimes it's worth it, and you don't have to push too much. And this is a sort of forceful card. And so some of you may be used to pushing too much. Don't. If it falls away or falls apart, something better is awaiting you. And that's one of my big takeaways from 2022. Don't push it. Don't rush. One of the reasons I quickly got out of the one with the construction is management was bad there, and they kind of like incentivized it, sort of pushed me. And then that created this crazy period of time where I'm like, I should have just stood my ground and waited. So now I'm a lot more patient when it comes to stuff like that. Be patient. It helps. It's worth it in the long run. Take a lesson from me on that. All right, we have the Four of Cups. It's reversed. This is a very interesting take on it. I usually see the Four of Cups as a blessing in disguise. I also read it as a card where you compare yourself. Sometimes it's a futile comparison to sort of like look at someone else's path in life and circumstance and think, well, why don't I have that? That's not going to really, it creates jealousy. You could get inspired. You can say, how did they create it? How could I inspire that? What can I do in my life to build it? You can use it as inspiration, but when it's just jealousy, it's not great. This took a slightly different take on it, and I support it too because it fits with the Four of Cups. This person is not connected. They're bored. They're disinterested. And not in a sort of law of detachment way, more in a sort of like, I could be doing anything else in the world and it would be better than this. We've all had some moment where we feel like that. Maybe it's while you're registering your vehicle at a state organization or federal organization. It could be while you're at a hospital waiting to be seen. Those are moments where you're bored or you're kind of annoyed. But if you are in a relationship or a job and you are looking at the clock and you're like, oh my God, it's only 11 a.m. or it's only 3 p.m. and I've got to be here for 3 more hours. That's not good. That's not sustainable in the long run. So this is a reality check for the moments of boredom. Could there be an opportunity there to look at it differently? Could there be an opportunity for growth or to be transferred because we did get the sun and the world at the center? Or should you be looking at something else? Let's look at the traditional card just to kind of contrast and compare and get some additional messages. I see the traditional Four of Cups as a hidden ace, and it's better illustrated in a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So we're going to merge the two. Some of you may just be bored and then that kind of distracts you. Some of you may just be paying attention to something that isn't worthy of your time and energy. This card, we can see what's happening there. There's an ace literally flying in the air towards this person's face, and they're focusing only on what's in front of them. Sometimes that's because someone's too focused on evidence, like I must see it. It has to be black and white. If it's not there, it doesn't exist. Wouldn't it be a boring world if we didn't, like science doesn't work that way, FYI. We create theories and then we research them and we try to prove them or disprove them. And disproving them is also a great part of science. But you have to at least entertain possibilities. Because if you don't, then we wouldn't learn how to fly. We wouldn't learn about the planets. We wouldn't learn about DNA and things like that because we would just think, well, that sounds too outlandish. That can't be. So allow yourself to dream and to explore a little bit and also be open to, is there something around me that I wasn't somehow giving a chance, and maybe I can see it differently, okay? By the way, if you are busy and bored, or if you are just disengaged, it is time to move on. You have, we'll look at the 4 quarters of this year, and then you can also look at my special on Friday, kind of find the best month for you. But even before then, one thing from somebody who did it, take a look at your money first. You need to have a contingency budget put together. So sit down, make a budget, figure out how much it costs, what's your input and output financially each month. If you're launching something, or you want to also plan for worst case scenarios, sickness or something else, put that in there as well. And that helped me decide how much longer I needed to work. I didn't just sort of like jump without a plan. I definitely had sort of like a rhyme, a reason, and a budget to help inform the decision. And then there comes a point inside where you're like, I've saved enough and I'm ready to move on. Okay? All right, so we're going to look now at the expanded forecast. This is a chance to look a little deeper at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we begin with the health card, which, again, I'm not a substitute for a financial planner, for a doctor, or for a psychologist. I'm here to help you look at energetic opportunities in front of you. So reach out to a professional if you need it. If you're just looking for energy and options, I'll show you what's here, and then you're empowered to do what's right for you. Okay, so in the health card, we have Forest Temple, so many beautiful messages around trees, and it's about enlightenment, but it's reversed. So let me take a drink and we'll talk about it. Okay, so let's pull the card upright. Zoom in on it a little bit. And okay, so grounding yourself and doing what's best for you. This is, honestly, it's basically the Queen of Pentacles. Both of these were reversed. So because it's in the forest and we're looking at sort of grounded energy, you and you alone have the wisdom and have the knowledge and have the experience to make something work or not work. And someone around you could be trying to talk you in or out of something that you know what's best. That's basically what this card is saying. So if it feels good and if it's going to lift you up, do it. If it's going to depress you or anger you or somehow kind of like cost you time or energy, then don't. If we look at this in a different perspective, getting out in the world is going to be key. We actually have the expansive card here. We have trees all over the place in this reading today. So one of the things that you want to think about too is maybe getting out in nature. I know a lot of you have inclement weather going on. I get it. I used to live in a lot of snowy climates. I still enjoy getting outside as a kid. I know it's not as much fun as an adult, but I remember that you could actually hear, back when my hearing was even better, but like you could almost hear the little snowflakes starting to hit objects outside. I liked the way that the ice would melt on the trees and you had the icicles. I liked walking out in the snow for a moment and just looking at how the world transformed overnight. So when you say it's too cold, it's not too cold to go out for 1 minute or 2 minutes, unless you're in a place where it's like negative 30 or 40. I get it. But at least look outside. There's something beautiful about, that's why I chose a room here that has a really nice view for us. It's private enough, but we have a tree behind us, and I like that little bit of nature. So connect with that if you can, even if it's just looking outside and putting your thoughts, projecting your thoughts out there. There's something grounding about nature in some way, shape, or form. Maybe bring a little bit of nature into your house, so a plant of some sort. Ground yourself in that way, and that's going to help out. All right, let's look at other messages around health and well-being. Okay, let's see here. Well, the first thing is, again, it feels like something is overdue. Something's overdue to show it. You're ready to birth, you're ready to release something. So this is the time, this is the place. Pregnancy. Some of you may be looking to expand the family. These two cards are very good. It could be a surprise, FYI. If you're not planning on having a child, be more mindful, because I see a surprise, a change of balance of things, and then, a baby coming in. So if you've been waiting a long time, this might be the month where things push through. If you're not trying to get pregnant, there's a chance for pregnancy, so be mindful of that as well. I actually even get like twin energy here with the 6 of Cups. So this can be, usually this would be divine masculine, so it could be twin boys. But but divine masculine can express itself in the female form as well. But that's kind of what I got. A lot of twos, lots of twos. Like there's twins in the 6, there's two, and there's a baby. So anyway, be that as it may, for the rest of us, let's look at some other things here. You may have outgrown a place. This is birthing, growth. This is oftentimes moving. And so you may decide to move because this doesn't suit you anymore. The place in which you work, there's too much competition. There's really no place to go. You're tired of working so hard and not getting anywhere. So it doesn't balance out. The place that you're living just may not be enough, especially if you've recently partnered or, again, expansion of family. Maybe you've adopted a pet. All of these things could just mean that you've outgrown it. So for some of you, it's time to move up, move out, move on. For some of you, there's an addition. For some of you, you're birthing something new. Big energy at the center here that can affect all aspects of your life. No matter what you decide, there's a moment where you have to find your footing again. This is imbalanced and this is imbalanced. So you're trying to pick a direction and find what's best for you. And that's really what this sort of grumpy but adorable Queen of Stones or Queen of Pentacles is saying. I need to take care of myself finally. Get off my back. I see a lot of peer, family, or community pressure coming in. So finding a way not to have to defend yourself, because this is defending yourself. This is someone getting in your business. So basically pulling back just a little bit and, again, taking care of you. I think the big thing this year is to focus on some stuff that you hadn't been paying attention to. So this can sometimes represent really wanting to focus on well-being, the body. So what you're eating and how you're taking care of yourself may have been something that you didn't focus on as much before. This is saying also take care of your eyesight. Eyesight, balance, and diet are coming through with these cards. Again, standard disclaimer that I'm not a doctor. Other than that, I like what I see, and there's nothing here that worries me, to be honest. Pay attention to stuff. You can't ignore it. As long as you bring it up or ask a question, you can manage just about anything, okay? Let's focus on what's going on with wealth here. It's time for something to change for the better. Card is reversed, but it's saying I'm tired of putting everyone else second. I need to heal myself. I need something that is fulfilling, that is lifting me up in all the best ways. You may also be the type of person that decides that I want to help the world. You want to do something like that is in a healing art. So maybe you're going to be a chiropractor, a Reiki healer, an energy healer, a reader. You might also be a teacher or there's so many different types of a doctor, so many different professions that help others, or an advocate for others, like a lawyer trying to right the wrongs. But there's a healing energy in this. So maybe this year, as we're looking at your career, one of the things that you want to do is clean things up a little bit and then make it a better place. I like that. I can get behind that. Otherwise, it's just sort of like, I need to do something that makes me feel better. So it's either you or you and others. Okay. Let's look at some of the other cards here. When it comes to money in general, I feel like you're starting to understand your worth. The Queen of Pentacles is the number one card that I'd want for like being able to nurture or create something. The King of Pentacles is great, but she has like a green thumb and can continue to create growth. So I see you on a growth trajectory, but I see something here and something here distracting you. So don't let it be the words and actions of others. Don't let it be your own sort of questioning, because it looks like you're right on the precipice of doing what you need to do to basically have a breakthrough moment. So that's good. Some of you are in a place where there's a glass ceiling or there's too much competition, and so it might be time to look elsewhere. What I like and what I'd like to highlight is the networking that you've done here. So we have the Four of Wands, and that shows me good sort of good reputation, good team engagement, people around you that also show up right here. The next step in the journey comes from the Ten of Cups, from someone that you know, someone that notices you, someone that likes you, someone that wants to celebrate and assist you. They're already in your life, around you, or within reach, and I like that. I'm being shown the 7 for some reason. So for some of you, this could be 7 weeks or 7 months, but it's a matter, or maybe 1 week. It's the number 7 will be significant here. And this is where something clears or becomes easier for you. We have clearance here. I see it as like the cloud or the smoke or the fog clearing, and you're like, oh, that's what I want to do. Got it. Okay, and then the Seven of Wands, unlike the Seven of Cups, can push through and make it happen. Remember what I said, it's just enough push, not too much. Ultimately, it's up to you what you want to do, but these cards put you in a great position and these cards put you in a great position. What I'm looking at here, though, is indecision and distraction and a little bit of boredom. So if you can move through those energies, then your true self-worth can come through. You have to put yourself, this is also a little hermity in its illustration. So you have to come out of the cave, you have to kind of put yourself out there, and that's going to be key. Okay? Those are the general messages around wealth. If you're a student, don't be forced to go down a path that doesn't feel good to you. If you're retired, it feels like connecting to people around you. We have 3 cards of love. I can't wait to look at love in a second, but 6 of Cups is love from the past. 4 of Wands is best friends. 10 of Cups can be marriage, new love, existing relationships growing. That's a lot of love, folks. So again, I feel like there is support to be had, even if you have to reach out. There's support around you. All right, this is a nice segue into love. Guess what? We have a lot of healing energy coming through here. So this is Hilarion, divine healing. Honor your sensitivity, retreat to recharge and heal. Your light can support others. Let's look at this card upright and up close. So here we go. Divine healing. One of the most interesting pieces that might be coming through in some key relationships right now is not so much just partnership, but you're deciding to heal and help one another. By the way, that is the true color of the heart chakra. You can use pink with it as well, but primarily green, which also we would connect with growth. I'm looking at that too. Then I'll have to look up who this is, but I also think of humor when I see that, like hilarious. So sometimes if we can have a good laugh over what we've been through and have a moment to just not take everything so deathly serious, then we're able to move forward. Healing can actually come through laughter. It can come through tears. It's not just about being serious all the time. And the playful energy of the 6 of Cups would definitely be a part of that. We actually see the two little otters on the side there? But basically we see the love and the playful energy here. It's not completely devoid of animals. Let's focus on this in 3 different levels, and then I'll take it back to the healing, what can be healed. Focusing first on existing relationships. So for existing relationships, I definitely get a competitive vibe. And there may be like you're closer, you have a lot more in common than maybe other friends and people around you may realize. And so sometimes you butt heads a little bit here. And that's what I'm getting with this. It's not necessarily about convincing your partner to see it 100% your way. It's just about like meeting each other halfway. Sometimes just allowing the other partner to go forth on something without, if you trust them, you don't have to agree with them on everything. So this is about trust and saving your time and energy, not trying to change their mind or change their person, because that's not really what love is. It's about understanding and celebrating the person for who they are. Here's what I like about existing relationships. There's definitely a strong soul connection with the 6 of Cups. In a previous life, you could have been parent, child, brother, sister, something like that. Very close bonds, very close ties. It's playing out differently in this lifetime where you're now partners. And the main thing in this lifetime karmically that's coming through is it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to be taken care of. Normally, this is the nurturing card in reverse, and especially partnered up with a baby. This is saying, I'm going to allow myself to be taken care of, or I'm going to ask for help. And that doesn't make me any less powerful. In fact, what we see here is someone who is growing because of that. A child needs help. The inner child may be coming up and saying, I need to heal in this area, because that's what this was all about, was healing. And the healing piece is accepting or asking for assistance. We see a lot of growth in the relationship. Here's what I see. If you're willing and ready to go further, this is still an expansion card. So this doesn't have to be the swan song, but what's standing in the way here is someone not tuning in. This was the boredom or disconnection card, distraction card. And sometimes there's a little bit of fighting or a lack of clarity. So I think communication is key. I think that working at different levels of intimacy, learning about what's going on emotionally with the partner. It's not just the physical connection, it's the emotion that allows you to kind of like go deeper. That's the missing piece, getting that spark, not competing, not trying to change or control the thinking patterns of the other party. That's what's going to help you thrive. And because you have 3 of the best love cards, 6 of Cups, 4 of Wands, and the 10 of Cups, if you want to make it work, you can. If you're already like 1 foot out the door and you're moving on, this card can also, there's 2 narratives here. This is saying it's going to be okay, and you have a lot of friends and family and support around you that will help. It may not be where you imagined yourself, but there's still a lot of good in the world, and you have to keep looking for that, because this is a card where you're disconnected and this is all the love around you. Okay? So either way, good. Little bit of challenges for some existing relationships. If the relationship is solid, this can also be like in-laws, mother, father-in-law, sister-in-law coming in and kind of getting in the way. Okay, focusing on those looking for love right now. I think it's really important for you to find the necessary balance in your life. Most importantly, if there's something in your health or well-being that needs to be taken care of, focus on that first. If you're tired of getting the short end of the stick, not getting enough resources, then speak up, because you have, at least in the cards here, done the energy to create a good network. There's someone there that can give you advice or support in that respect. Now, once you've kind of cleared your sort of life out a little bit and everything is balanced, I think that when love comes into your arena, it will be a little bit unexpected. This is one of the 2 blindfolded cards. The 8 of Swords would also be blindfolded. So something takes you by surprise, but happy surprise. The card is reversed. You are focusing on something else, and you may not have the time and energy to kind of deal with it, but it looks like it's worth it. If you're looking for love this time, I have a soulmate energy coming through, I have a best friend energy coming through, and I have something getting serious with this. So either one of these, friendship or love or both, could blossom in this period of time. Don't force it. And even if you're not looking for it, maybe this is what the universe is bringing towards you, and you can just say, thank you. I am worth it, and I am ready, and this is what makes me happy. Okay? If you're single and happy, I see a lot of growth coming through for you. As I said, this can be internal growth. It can be monetary growth. It's good. I see you working really hard, sometimes getting a little frustrated, but others are taking note. It's not all in vain. And this kind of goes for everybody too. Know that you are being seen. Know that you are being celebrated. It doesn't always come when you want the accolades, the attention, the gold medal, but you are making progress. That's that for relationships. Ultimately, heal yourself first. We aren't looking for someone to complete, to fix, or to somehow validate us. We're looking for partners, for someone that's on the same level. So as you start to heal and improve yourself, your pool of partners, I should say, is also improving, and you have better odds of finding that one that you're looking for. Now let's go to your destiny card. We have Anunnaki light codes, energetic shift, new information, end of a cycle. It's reversed, but completely in alignment with the world tree, aka the world card, which is all about, like I said, expansion, moving up, moving out, moving on. So one more time, let's look at these captions here. Energetic shift. So some of you have this sort of feeling like, oh, finally, this is what I've been working for, or this is what I want to pay attention to. There's been an epiphany or a light bulb moment, and that's amazing when that happens. You may also be provided new information. This could be a traditional source like an email or a letter, a phone call. There could also just be a download that you're receiving, because this is very ET out there. So you might be receiving something from your guides. And then we also just have cyclical closure, and that connects beautifully with the Mercury retrograde, which is starting now, tomorrow. So I believe it's tomorrow. I think it was the 29th or the 30th. But I'll do a video tomorrow, put the exact dates out for all of us. But we're already in the pre-shadow, and we'll be in it for most of January, the post-shadow as well. So this is a time to make and break cycles. 8 of Cups would be a card that would connect to this particular oracle card. And with Destiny, it's saying you don't have to keep going down this story. Here's the cool thing. So it's like, think of it as a movie script or a TV script. This month is a rewrite or an edit or a sequel. Now you get to go in a different adventure. This movie's done. This chapter's done. This book gets to be put on the shelf. That's what January 1st represents, is the reset. So what are you going to do in the reset? And that's probably, we'll look at parts of this in the rest of our forecast today. We can kind of put some of this into the big idea. So I'm going to ask with the big idea, what's next? We'll kind of put a little bit of a question behind it so we know, what is all of this setting you up for? What's the awakening and what's the opportunity? We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the links here, which is fast moving. So what is all of this about? So something comes up on you by surprise. Lynx, being one of the many hunting cats out there, is nimble, is quick, has really good hearing. So one of the things that you want to do is keep your eyes and ears peeled for better than expected news. We can hear like sirens in the background here. It could also be like a wake-up call or a red flag where you just think, oh, and because cats usually land on their feet, your reflexes are going to bring you into a place where you're going to be all right. Page of Pentacles is an auspicious card even when it's reversed, just like the Queen of Pentacles, but it's saying, I need to validate the factual information, or where did this source come from? So this one is about taking care of yourself and not underestimating your worth. This could be pushing back a contract and saying, no, we need a little more, or the numbers don't look right, or where did you get this information? It's an inquisitive page. Pages don't just receive and run errands, they also deliver and ask questions. Is this right? Are you sure about this? I heard this. You're not just a middle person, you're also capable of interpreting and helping. And in your own life, you're your own best agent. So question everything is what this page is saying. Listen and look, and you'll pick up on something around you that's going to help you out. That's a pretty powerful big idea. Let's take a look at the blessings and blocks next. Obviously, these are things that can either help or hinder. The blessing card is the Nine of Wands, which I featured earlier. And the block is the Eight of Wands. Interesting. Okay, so let's start with the blessing. This is an unusual Nine of Wands. I might just pull up my slide again for a moment. Typically with the Nine of Wands, we would see a person with a bandage in front of them, and not in front of them, but on their head. And they're standing in front of 8 of the 9 wands, usually holding the 9th right there. And they're basically saying, they're staking their ground. I've worked hard. I've been through it a few times. Maybe I've been through 8 of my 9 lives, but I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue. So there's this resilience that's coming through that I love with the Nine of Wands. Let's highlight the card that I put in the channel messages really quickly so you can see it and I don't have to fish through the deck here. Okay, so if we look at this, you can see it right there. So the bandage on this Nine of Wands can sometimes also be like you feel like it's a headache to kind of push through something, but it is worth the headache is what I would say with this. The perseverance and the persistence. It's like the tree that keeps making all the fruit, knowing that at least one of those is going to be worth it. Keep pushing. Don't give up in the 11th hour. The Nine of Wands is a card that ultimately gets what it wants, but it has to push and it's worth it. And we see someone here who's just kind of like getting through the weeds and saying, all right, enough of this. Pay attention to me or pay attention to this. So I like that. Interestingly enough, the block this month is typically an auspicious card. This is one of my favorite Eight of Wands. There's only maybe 3 decks that I own that have community in them. The Little Prince does, this does, and there's one other deck that escapes me right now, but I love it because when you think of a traditional Eight of Wands, there's all these wands flying through the air. How do you think they got there? There were people typically around you that are pushing and moving that energy forward, those ideas forward. Here we can actually see it. It says Hearthfire. We see everyone celebrating and present around the sort of fire. And when the card is reversed, sometimes you feel like you're lost in the shuffle. You could be working in a place where there's a lot of loud voices because you think of that fire. There could be laughter, there could be joy. You could be kind of in the background thinking, I have some things I'm needing to deal with and we're making good progress, we're moving forward, but you have to sometimes emerge as the page or the knight or the king or the queen and say, wait a second, hold on a second. You have support. This is yet another partnership card and support card. So you have the Four of Wands, which is your BFF. We have the Eight of Wands, which is an enviable team around you that's really good, but they're so plugged into their own stuff, they're not listening. So you need to kind of like go off and find the Four of Wands. Find the few people in that crowd that you can really talk to, because you feel like that you're alone, but you're not. You just need to kind of slow down the motion a little bit, because Eight of Wands are like rockets going through the air. So sometimes you have to steer a rocket, right? That's what happens with, as NASA is launching things or the ESA is launching things out into space. They have to make sure that the ship is going in the right direction. Otherwise, it's going to end up in the wrong orbit. So even when things are fast moving, there's always time for course correction. There's always time for a quick aside and conversation. And I see more assistance and help there than you might anticipate. Okay. Now we're going to go into viewers and readers' choice. This is a chance for both of us to look at something a little bit deeper. Let me take a look. I usually like to take the trickiest. You know what? I'm so happy today. There's not we don't have the devil, we don't have the tower, we don't have the 10 of swords. So I'm just look at some different things here. I did something fun for Aquarius, and maybe I'll do it for you. I'm going to look at the best thing, since there's nothing really tricky. I don't want you to miss out on the good stuff. So I want to look at the shift, the energetic shift, or the new information. What can you look into for the new cycle? So I'll go a little deeper into this outer space card here and see what's going on. Let me pull up my keyboard, and we'll take a look at some of the other things that you might be challenged with. So let me just get a poll ready. And again, you vote on it by clicking on the option, not by typing it. All right, so give me a second to issue the poll. I want to look at dealing with competition as one of the options, like not getting distracted by that. I think the other thing is making a difficult decision, especially if it's a close call. Not being overly defensive, but let's put it in different terms. I guess there's two things we could look at. Yeah, I just kind of put the Seven of Wands because it could be being defensive and delegation. So that's what came to mind, not being overly defensive or pushing something too much. I'll put pushy. And let me see if there's one final one that you can look at. Did I put, okay, finding that balance that's lacking there. All right, I will issue the poll now. You have a chance to vote on it. While you're voting, I'm going to take a look at the good news card here. The Anunnaki Light Codes, energetic shift, new information, end of a cycle. How can you embrace this? What's this all about? What should you be focusing on? There's the other bear card. Love it. So this is a really cool and unusual judgment card. So we have 20, the judgment card, Great Bear. This comes right before the world. So the world was smack dab, if you just joined, it's smack dab in the center. Well, it's crossing it, we should say. We have the rebirth moment here in the sun, and then we have the world. So 2021, judgment. Judgment is such a powerful card because it represents, I could talk probably for a whole session about judgment, but let's break it down to what you can pay attention to. If you see it and if you believe it, you can create some aspect of that in your life. If you believe in the fear part of it, like I can't do it, it won't happen, I don't deserve it, you've shut the door. So the bear that's standing atop of this cave is not there to really scare you away. It's there to see if you're scared. And all it is a personification of fear. And it's saying, do you believe in yourself? Are you afraid? How much do you want this? And what do you do around a bear? You just keep your calm, keep your cool. In this case, we're going to gently walk under the cave and just leave the bear alone. We're not going to engage with fear. We see the aurora borealis and the constellation behind it. There's a new beginning. There's a new tomorrow. That guardian is basically just the universe one more time saying, do you believe in yourself? And that's judgment on some levels. The traditional judgment card, I love this card and would put it up as a poster because I think it's cool. But if you were to look at the traditional one, it's souls rising from the dead. So, and on the beginning of a new year, this is a really cool energy to come through because it's basically saying, I'm reinventing myself. I'm putting to rest the previous version of me. That's how I'm ending the cycle. And I believe in myself enough to go into the unknown, which is what that cave represents. We see the queen coming out at the other end here, kind of wondering what's next, but she comes through it. So we know you can go through whatever it is that you want to do, but you have to believe in yourself and you have to be able to look fear the unknown and this sort of rebirthing energy. Appropriately enough, it was the second to last card, just like it is in the major arcana. All right, so here's your traditional judgment. A lot more sort of life and death energy coming through here. We see Gabriel blowing his horn, we see the dead rising, and we see a new day. And so it represents literally rebirth, new beginnings, and a clearing and an ending of a cycle. But the bear in this card gives it an additional layer, which is saying, before we do that, we have to face our fears. So face your fears, and good things will happen from that. You're going to be able to get through that. I see a breakthrough. It's worth it. It's worth stepping into the unknown. And again, speaking from someone who's had to do it multiple times, but when I quit my job, there was definitely that feeling of, am I making either the biggest mistake or the best sort of decision of my life? It was the best decision, but most people around me thought I'd lost my noodle. So be prepared sometimes when you take a leap of faith to not always have people understand. Or if you do something different, maybe you're deciding to take a break, start a family. Maybe you're deciding to, do something completely different from what you studied or initially began. So what? As long as you've got breath in your lungs and, blood flowing through your veins, you can make choices and make movements and shifts. All right, let's see what you've chosen for me, Pisces. All right. It looks like the overwhelming question that needs a little clarification is making a difficult decision. So what I'm going to help you clarify today is this card, the Two of Swords that was reversed. So let's give it a shuffle and let's see what's coming through for you. Oh, we like the Wheel of Fortune. That is good. Okay. This Wheel of Fortune is not all about money, though. So notice how we see, I think it's called a loom. A loom, someone's kind of creating something from their own tender loving care. Takes time. So this Wheel of Fortune is saying not everything is going to just be handed to you on a silver plate or is going to just be about the cash, the money, the title, etc. What truly matters, what truly kind of gives you that sense of worth and that this is worthwhile, et cetera, is this feeling like it fits. Like, I don't know why, that just came to me. Does it fit you? So the Wheel of Fortune literally is a shirt with the wheel on it that they created from their own materials. So what fits you and what makes you tick is going to be very different from someone else. And if it fits, then you can make a go of this. And that's what I wish I could tell my younger version of myself back in 2015 when I took that leap of faith. It's if it fits. If the shoe fits, then wear it and it's you and it's going to be all right. This won't suit everyone else. Your father or mother's career isn't going to be good enough for you. Who your aunt or uncle wants you to date, that's not who they're living with. You're going to live with that person. The house that you eventually decide to live or apartment that you live in, it doesn't matter if your friends like it. Do you like it? Ultimately, this whole thing is about what do you value, how does it fit, and is this something you can see yourself wearing or living in for a while? If you don't feel the fit, the comfort, and the connection, go the other path, okay? That's basically what I see. Also, you create your own abundance. It doesn't and again, as I never anticipated being like a small business owner or an entrepreneur or an independent sort of business person. I kind of wanted it when I first graduated from college, university. I freelanced a lot and I really didn't want to get tied down to like a day job. But for some reason, I decided to do it for 15 years. But eventually when I went down the path, I'm like, oh yeah, this is always what I wanted. I just didn't have the confidence at the time. So if you can get the confidence and just go for it and then do a little bit of the homework, I feel like we could all kind of have this capacity to make something beautiful, okay? Great energy, great messages with the wheel. And I do see a change for the better. The wheel can also represent 4 seasons. So I'm looking at a new, it's almost like another 12-month cycle, not just because it's the beginning of a new year, but you're going to be a completely different person come January 2024. So that's kind of exciting. This is something really, really big and new for Pisces. And I'm happy to see the birthing of it here with you. All right. today, before we get into the special portion, which will be looking at the 4 quarters, I'm going to take a look, as I always do, at sun, rising, and moon. And this is going to help us dig a little bit deeper into those parts of the chart. And I do recommend that, at minimum, you tune into sun, rising, and moon. It gives you a great ability, at least your sun, but definitely rising and moon help fill out the big picture of what's going on. All right, let me shuffle the cards and let's get some messages and see what the messages are for you. We have 9 of arrows for sun, or 9 of swords. And then we have the Knight of Wands for rising, and the Shaman or the Magician for moon. Really cool for the moon. Okay, let's begin with sun first. Sun. It is about coming through fear and anxiety and actually feeling empowered. This is a nice sort of like building off of what I was talking about with judgment. Judgment is not saying you can't do it. It's saying, why can't you do it? What are you afraid of? The bear is kind of taking your question and turning it inside out. This is a super unusual illustration for the 9 of swords. I kind of picture her as gathering up all of the painful experiences and the setbacks and using them as tools in her quiver and her arrows. She's basically taking each one of those back. I always wondered, like when you watch The Hunger Games or Legolas in Lord of the Rings, when is he going to go back, or when is she going to go back and get those arrows? It's not like they just invent themselves. So there comes a point where there's a little bit of cleanup, and it's a little bit of assessment. You're thinking, that wasn't easy, that wasn't fun, that could have been better. But because of those things, I'm going to succeed. So she's taking her swords and she's making them arrows, which are going to be tools. She's going to be much more focused and targeted as she moves forward. And that's the advice in this period of time, is to use your difficult experiences as tools and learnings. And the dedication will pay off. I talked about that earlier because of the acorn, right? It's about continuing to push forward. So I really, really like that. That's a beautiful energy. And it's one of the few times that we don't see someone that's afraid or tired or stressed out. There's a calm and a cool nature with this card that's really beautiful. Using the traditional 9 of swords, where we would see someone in a bedroom at night with all the swords above them, it's basically representing the advice from the universe to not give too much energy to worst case scenarios. Get the necessary sleep. See tomorrow as a new day, and take each new day as something where you don't have to repeat. That was part of this. It's an end of cycle. So each day you have a chance to do a little better. And that's all that basically Pisces sun needs to focus on this month, is doing the best with the energy and the information and the opportunities given each day. Let it go. In the next day, take the messages and the lessons, but not the drama and the karma and the weight. And that's going to be key. Moving from the sun sign to the rising, we have the Knight of Wands here, and the cutest fox ever. So this card was reversed, but let's turn it upright for a second. Yeah, really cute. Sly fox is what I get with this. But all right, the Knight of Wands in reverse. When knights have to kind of backtrack or sidetrack for a moment, it's basically saying, I have an idea, or I have some additional information, and I need to blend it in with this. I need to see what I want to do next. He's closing his eyes here and considering things before he catches up for lost time. So there'll be plenty of time to bounce around the hills to find what you need to find, but take a moment to think and be present and ask a question if you need to. You're allowed to change your mind. I think strong, experienced leaders know when to say, I've made a mistake, or we need to go down a different path. Both of those potential energies are coming through at this point. There is a stubbornness with a knight reversed. So there may be something where someone can't outfox you. That's what I like with this. They're trying to get around you or trying to push you back, and you're kind of like, no, I see through that. So I like that kind of persistence. It's very much like 9 of Wands. There's a lot of stubbornness and pushy energy that comes through with Wands. So you're being asked to have just the right amount of moxie and strength this month without overdoing it. And so for rising and ascendant, this is going to hit in the areas of work and public sort of anything where you're like in the public eye. So you might have to push just a little bit to be seen or heard, just a little bit to get something done. It'll be worth it. The other thing is to kind of keep an open eye and open ear when it comes to new ideas, because there may be a better way to do something. We got the magic card when I looked at moon. So for moon, Pisces moon, you've got the shaman, which is also the magician. It's kind of interesting here. I think he's wearing a bear skin in this. We could ostensibly think that he possibly brought that through as he went through the tunnel. It's almost like he took a little bit of the energy of the bear spirit with him. So again, this is basically saying, what are you afraid of? Or why are you afraid? Or don't be afraid. And then he kind of took that strength and that wisdom with him in this new incarnation, because the major arcana just repeats. So once you go through the world, you rebirth yourself back at the Fool, and you go through it all again. So this to me is a very experienced magician, which is why it's called shaman, not magician. Kind of understands the secrets of the world, understands what makes him tick, has been through a few lifetimes, is a little bit of a shapeshifter. So all of these things come through for you in this period of time. You have the ability to take on a new shape or form. You have the ability to work your magic, to basically manifest your dreams or your intuitions. And you have a very attractive and charismatic and so good chemistry with people. The magician is just the perfect card when it comes to new beginnings. He also has all the elements in front of him: earth, air, water, fire. And so it's a question of like, what do I want to put my attention into in this point of time? Okay? It's going to be a good month for Pisces moon. Let's go ahead now and move on to the special portion. I don't have a graphic for it. We'll just talk about it. We're going to be looking at the 4 quarters of 2023, breaking it down, and I'll basically call out each one of those as we do it. So let's go ahead, shuffle the cards. And again, if you want a little bit more granular of a read, you can always take a look at my special, which will be coming out sometime on Friday. I decided to take New Year's Eve off, except for the 1 card pull. So we'll do a New Year's Eve special. All right, quarter 1, I'll break it down in a second. Quarter 2, quarter 3. Wow, you've got a good year so far. And quarter 4, it's all good. All right, I'm excited. I mean, each sign is different as I've been reading. Some have trickier energy than others, but yours is pretty good. So first quarter is going to be January, February, and March. So if you're sketching this down or whatever, that's going to be Queen of Swords. April, May, and June, we have the auspicious 3 of Wands reversed. July, August, and September, Ace of Pentacles, which I think I featured with the acorn. Maybe I didn't, but good card and definitely connected to the acorn and the oak tree. And then a very nice energy towards the end of the year, finding balance. It is reversed, so that might be the trickiest period if I have to find it. So that'll be October, November, December. Let's take them quarter by quarter. Starting off with Q1, finding your voice, using your voice, stepping into the new you. Definitely connected with the making and breaking of cycles card, which we had here in Destiny. So Destiny really kicks off here in the new year with the Queen of Swords. I like that we have a swan. It's not your swan song. It's just showing that there's beauty and grace, and it comes from your voice and your action. So walk the walk, talk the talk. Don't let someone talk you out of doing something that you know is important for yourself. A really good time for those of you that need to sign a contract, write something down, share something with the world, publish something, because we had the world card as well. This is the time when you want to get it out in the world. It's the announcement period, the action period, the movement period, okay? And you're doing it with grace, which I love, okay? That's quarter 1. Now picking up at April, May, and June, we have some delays, but nonetheless, or actually maybe things are happening faster than you think here. Let's pull the card upright for a second. So the 3 of Wands is exactly what they captioned it to be: fulfillment, dreams fulfilled. The 3rd wand is the bow that he's holding in his hand. So the interesting thing with 3 of Wands is usually we would see a person on a hill looking down at boats coming in, which is saying what I'm wishing is here. When it's reversed, it's saying maybe I'm looking in the wrong direction, or maybe I'm disbelieving my ability, but it's maybe not just here, but it's been here. And there's this need to sort of like catch up a little bit. So things are happening faster than you think. I like an active Three of Wands. He's literally holding one of the three wands and saying, this is good, this is good. I'd like to redirect this one a little bit. He's still creating in real time and he's seeing it. So he's very focused, but he sometimes doubts himself and we don't want that to happen. So stay focused, stay confident, and really look around you, because I think that this will be the productive period. So we see like announcements in January, February, and March. We see movement possibly like coming right into your in your email box or in your lap, and it's sort of like, what are you going to do about this? And the second quarter is catch-up period. So that's April, May, and June. So first part of the year, looking great, folks, because you're saying what you want, you're starting the motion, things are coming in, you're trying to catch up with it. And then we see possibly the big so what of 2023, which is the Ace of Pentacles here. And this one makes you slow down just a little bit because we do have a stone here. So you've had all of this movement, this talking, this energy for the first 6 months. Now, as we're looking at July, August, and September, it's saying, where are you going to put your focus? And it kind of goes back to what we saw here. You can waste a lot of time and energy putting it in places that you don't need to, or trying to make everybody happy. This is saying, pick a singular thing that's worth your time, worth your attention, and really step into that, really birth that in this moment in time. So again, July, August, and September, central focus, central energy. Could be a good news opportunity, like you could be coming into money, there could be a job opportunity, or someone's interested in what you have to offer and you'd forgotten about it and they're like, hey, how about that? So there's something beautiful that's coming through in that part of the year. Now we have the first opportunity card, I like to call it. I don't even think it's difficult because I still see it as a cornerstone for success, but we did get Six of Pentacles. Typically there's a balancing energy here. And what's good about this illustration is you're the one holding the coins and the scales. There's other people coming in asking for stuff, but you're the one that's holding the pentacles because we're looking at it first person. And you're looking at the people. So there are some people and some opportunities and some situations that are worthy of time and energy. There are some that may not be worthy of it. So we're again kind of getting that energy that we got with the Two of Pentacles. But let me show you the traditional one. And here's what you want to think. First of all, with Six of Pentacles, depending on the card, depending on the perspective, sometimes you're the person that gets to decide. And when you're the person that gets to decide, that means telling someone no. And saying no for some of you can be difficult. And I think that's the thing that I could kind of advise you is, but you're also saying yes to someone else. And so we can't say yes to everybody all the time, or we'll end up with no coins, no energy, no resources, and not enough for ourselves. So this is teaching you of the importance of who can best sort of like reciprocate the energy, and also making sure that you don't exhaust yourself in the process. I'm going to look one more time, but the card is escaping me. You can Google it. But basically, we would see a person. It's just the person that's missing in the background. Here we go. Hidden in the middle. So here's the person, and here's everyone around him needing, asking, putting up their best case, pleading even sometimes, pleading for the best. And what we see here is you are that person because we only see the two people in front of him, okay? And one of those two will be worth it, or a little bit here and a little bit here, and some for you. It's got to be enough to go around. So use your best instincts to make sure that you're not depleting yourself or depleting the resources. And there could also be someone around you that just doesn't know how to pace themselves, right? We see this with, like, for instance, with my dog. I don't need the measuring cup anymore. I know visibly and visually what it looks like. But like when I first got him, he just wanted to eat and eat, and he put on some weight. I'm like, okay. I mean, he wouldn't eat for a while, then he ate way too much. And so now I'm very clear on it's like a palm full each time I feed him. I know exactly how much cooked food to give him. So if you have a child, if you have a dog, if you have someone in your life that doesn't understand when enough is enough, you have to help them. And that could also be part of that. If you need help, then maybe working with a counselor or someone that it could be a financial counselor in this case, or someone that keeps you accountable and will say like, no, you've got enough, save that for next month. That could be very advantageous here because the desire is just to want to go all in all of those 3 months, and you can't. You're going to have to, there'll be give and take, ebb and flow. Okay. But overall, this is good. By the way, in just general energy, this means you have enough, more than enough actually. So if someone was saying, can I retire? I would say, you have more than enough. I'd love for you to have 9 of Pentacles, but this would be enough on a budget. So you just have to budget. All right. So again, first quarter, focusing on expression, delivery, bringing us up from the into the second quarter, almost the middle of the year. Things are happening, but they're happening fast, so you want to stay on track. Then we see you focusing on that third quarter of the year on one thing, and then people around you wanting a lot of your time and energy, and you having to be diligent about when, how much, or even if to give them some of that time and energy. All right, we have just gotten to the final portion of today's reading. Before we look at your final card, there'll be a meditation and a sound bath. Before any of that happens, I would love for all of you that are present to do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. And when this goes on replay, put a picture of an acorn or a tree or a squirrel or something and tell me some of your New Year's resolutions. I like engagement, but let's make it engagement that's worthwhile. So put a fun little emoji and say like what it is that you want to work on for the new year. Then you can come back and look at that, and that'll be in the act of typing, you're actually putting a wish out there. And then you also help with engagement. So I'm trying to work the algorithm, but also help you out as well. You can also share this across social media. By the way, I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh on all major social media platforms. Any exceptions are listed on my website. I never offer private readings, and I won't use direct messages. Report, block, and tell me about anybody that's trying to do that. There was someone on YouTube too that I got, and I blocked them and I reported them. It usually takes a week or two for those fake accounts to go away, but I say it enough that I think everybody knows now, so that's good. If you've given back, thank you. I'll recognize you at the end. Okay, let's meditate together. For the meditation, let's take a quick look at the cards in front of us. I want to work with the Aurora Borealis card. This is kind of my favorite one. So I want us to kind of move beyond the fear that's represented by this bear and basically be able to find our strength. So if you would do me a favor and close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and on the exhale, you can make it a nice long sigh, letting go of any sort of tension or pressure or anxiety, and thinking to yourself, I can't wait for tomorrow. I can't wait for the new year. I'm very grateful, however, for the presence of mind and spirit that I have today. So you're anticipating something beautiful, but you're also very present in the moment. Now let's kind of conjure up what we're seeing in the cards here. And you can take one last look before you close your eyes. But imagine that you're standing in front of a cave and that the image of the bear is less sort of in the flesh. It's more sort of like an apparition, a spirit bear. And it's basically just there to teach and to help and to guide you. And once you take a step or two towards the bear, you can hear it speaking to you in your mind. And it's basically saying, not are you afraid, but what are you afraid of? It could be a prompt. If you don't have any fears, then you can just pass. But if there's something there that you're afraid of, imagine that the bear says, why? Why not? Why can't you have that? Why do you need to give energy to the fear? You actually are finding that the bear is quite kind and quite magnanimous. It just wants you to let the fear go. And if you're willing and ready, you can energetically give an offering to the bear, which will appease it, which is the fear. And it will devour your fear and allow you to go forward. So imagine that you do that. You're able to pull up what you're afraid of, what you don't want, what you don't need, and you give it as an offering to the bear. And it nods, it takes the fear, and the pathway is bright as daylight now. You can see all of these shimmering colors from the Aurora Borealis shining through the cave so that you no longer have to be afraid of what is in the cave. There's nothing there. It's just a passage. As you step through the other side of the cave and you look at the northern lights in front of you, you see beautiful colors of the heart, beautiful blues and greens and then blue for the throat. And you feel this kind of opening. I can speak my mind. I can be myself. And you feel the beautiful lights basically embrace you, these Aurora Borealis. I'm looking mostly at blues and greens in my mind's eye and even in the illustration here. So allow your throat chakra to open up, allow your heart to open up, and find a place where you can sit down on the other side or lie down and just bathe in the northern lights. And during this period of time, you can do whatever you'd like. You can just breathe, you can smile, you can cry, you can envision whatever it is that you want to see in the new year. Just be present while I play the singing bowl and work with your guides, with your higher self, and see what the northern lights want to illuminate for you. Take a few deep breaths. Imagine now that you are standing on your feet, looking out at a new day that has dawned before you. And there's this feeling of a mental and an energetic reset. Take a moment now to open your eyes on the next natural exhale. Look at what you wrote down. Think about what additional question you might have for me. And as soon as I come back, I'll pull a card and we'll take a look. Okay, with eyes open now, focusing on the question, let's see what the cards have to yield for this. 8 of Swords. This is the other card that shows sometimes not everything is clear, not everything is in front of you. As a yes/no question, for those of you saying, should I do it? Is it, whatever your sort of, however you formulated it, this would say you need to dig a little bit deeper. Either you don't believe it, you don't see it, or there's more to understand. So it would be a not yet. It's not a no, it's not a full stop no, but it's basically you don't have enough information. Now the traditional, we can actually see struggle on this card. One thing that I always see with 8 of Swords is that it doesn't have to be as hard as it is. In the traditional card, we would see somebody basically feeling like they're hemmed in, they're trapped in, but there's actually room to just kind of walk forward. And there's a need to sort of open your eyes. So the blindfolds are saying, I need to look at something. I shouldn't be afraid of what's out there. But maybe you need help taking that first step, or maybe you need time. But one thing that this card is bringing through, I'm going to just bring both of them to the main camera, but I would say is that you want to understand that it doesn't have to be so hard. If you can't see it, if you keep doing something and you can't see what you want, there comes a point where it's like, why am I pushing so hard for this? So here's your traditional illustration. You can see the swords actually don't block her in the front. It's just on the sides and maybe behind. But she could walk forward. The problem is she feels like she's not free. She can't get that off of her eyes. In this one, we see someone going uphill in a snowstorm, and we see the word struggle, and they're kind of walking in that minefield of arrows. So for many of us, this can represent like, it's just sort of like if you tried time and time again to get someone to listen, to get someone to see you, to get someone to pay attention to you, and it still isn't working. It's basically like if a tree falls in a forest, nobody's listening. There could be an opportunity for you just to go to a place or to an environment where people do listen. So we've all been in those environments. Sometimes it's school, sometimes it's a partnership, sometimes it's work. But wherever it is, it's not fun when you're on the outside looking in or you're not being heard or seen. I do like that she's carrying the light here. There's a little bit of that hermit energy that's saying, listen, you can do this. You have the light, you have the capacity within. Don't make it so hard, and don't let other people make it so hard on yourself. Okay? Main messages there. All right, before we wrap up, again, thank you for your support here. You can still hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm going to take a couple moments here to thank all of those who gave back a little bit. First thing, if it's your first time here, let me know. It's good to have you. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, I hope to see you on many of my readings here. I do some special ones. I'll be doing a retrograde one tomorrow. I'll be doing a New Year's Eve special on Friday, and then I'm taking off Saturday. I'll do the one card reading, but that's it. And then on Sunday, we'll do the week ahead. So I basically every week do the weeklies, I do monthlies, and I do dailies. So there's a lot. Sometimes people complain, I don't want to be here for 2 hours. Well, watch my 1 minute reads then. You can get everything you need to in a 1 minute read, or you can always go to just watch the weekly portion or something. So I got a little bit for everybody. I hope you enjoy it. All right. And if not, there's plenty of other readers out there, so I appreciate that as well. All right. For the memberships, let me say welcome to the newest folks. These are the people that joined today or recently here. So today, Raven, thank you so much for rejoining after 6 months. Marie Snow, thank you for being a brand new member. Alexandra, thank you for joining today as well, brand new member. Candida Rosso, thank you as well. Marcia, thank you. And I think that's everybody that joined today. Good to have you guys here. Let's see if anyone gave a super sticker. I will say appreciation right now. Looks like we have a few. Kicking things off today, we had Lou. Thanks a lot. Jamila, happy holidays to you too. I hope you enjoyed this. CC Panda Bear, thank you. Island Browning, Irene, let's see, Summer Scooter, I think it is. Thank you. And Yvette Sanchez, good to see you again. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me here on this holiday week. Yvette, thanks as well for the 14 months of membership. Let me see if there's any other members that highlighted that. No, that was it, I think. Yes, so thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out on this holiday week. I'll be back again Friday, and I'll be back again on Sunday. So until then, take care of yourselves. Have the best possible start to the new year. I really like the energy that I saw for you today. There weren't very many cards that seemed challenging or problematic. It's really kind of like an internal reset. So I think as long as you lean into that, there's a lot to be had. All right, everybody. Lots of love and light from Apollo and I. Have a great one, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.